G'day everybody, I'm going to be talking about angles today. First up, I'm just going to be showing you the different sizes of angles and their names. So we're going to start off with the smallest angle we can, which will be 1 degree. That is an acute angle. And acute angles are any angles that are less than 90 degrees. So I want you to think of 90 as a perfect L shape. And as you can see on this grid paper, we've got a line that comes out directly to the left and right, and ones that go up and down. So anytime you've got both of those being coloured in, that's going to be a 90-degree angle, a perfect L shape. That means that as soon as this goes down, that means it's less than 90 degrees, and it's an acute angle. And likewise with this one, if it goes across, that number is getting smaller, and therefore that is an acute angle. When it is a perfect L shape, it's called a right angle. So just remember that a square will have 4 right angles. A rectangle will have 4 right angles. A triangle can have right angles, but doesn't necessarily have to. As soon as it gets bigger than 90 degrees and less than 180, that is an obtuse angle. And an obtuse angle can be as big as this, it can be as big as that. Anything in between 100 it has to be less than 180 and more than 90. So now that this one is perfectly on the line, that means that as long as this one stops before that line, that is an obtuse angle. As long as it's not completely vertical. If it was completely vertical, it's called a straight angle. And we call it that because it's a straight line. There's our right angle. There's an obtuse. There's a straight. There's an acute. But what about when it's more than 180? When it's more than 180, then this is known as a reflex angle. Now, reflex angles are more than 180, but less than 360. This is what 360 looks like. As you can see, that angle is a complete circle. A circle has 360 degrees. And half of it is 180. A quarter of it is 90. 3/4, 270. So I just want you to look at that relationship between them all. Also, I want to keep in mind this. If we go and try and get multiple angles, like this, we can see what that whole 360 degree looks like, and you can have a look at the difference between the interior angle here, which is an obtuse angle of 101 degrees, because it's more than 90 but less than 180, so that's an obtuse angle. And then we've got our reflex angle here. And just because we have a reflex angle here, more than 180, it doesn't mean that this one is necessarily an obtuse, because it could be like this. And now it's an acute angle. And another way that we could show these, 180 degrees either side. And that's how another way of us being able to know 180 degrees, 180, 360 is the entire circle. So we could do it with the 490s or two 180s. We'll go do it with the 490s now. Attempt to. So that one can go straight up. I'll fix it up later. Go straight up. That's 2 lines there, that was a bit tricky. That one's straight there, that one's straight there. Oh, we haven't quite got it, that one. Well, we had it. I guess they're not showing decimal places, which makes it a bit harder. But there's your perfect 90 degrees. All of these red lines are perfectly on these. Well, they're supposed to be perfectly on the grey lines. So this is showing the relationship between all the different angles. But now if we go back down to 2 points, this is where it's just showing how it will always equal 360 degrees no matter what you've got. So if you do have a protractor, but it only goes up to 180 degrees, and you're trying to measure a reflex angle, the key is to measure the interior angle. This one here, the one that you actually can measure. Because whenever you have a reflex angle of more than 180, you are going to have something less than 180. So if you have a reflex angle like this big one here, but your protractor can't measure it, well, you just need to measure the smaller one. And that smaller one is 83 degrees. Therefore, you would just need to have to type in 360 minus 83, and that will get you your reflex answer. And it's the exact same sort of calculation if you only had the reflex angle and not the interior. So if I had a reflex angle of, let's say, 250, 360 take 250. If you put that into a calculator, you'll get your 110.